We're also hearing Snyder's recent wave of Justice League era behind-the-scenes images is more than just nostalgia, as he's reportedly testing fan response, which has been overwhelmingly positive. Could a live-action Dark Knight Returns be next on Snyder's list at Netflix? Ben Affleck's new movie with Matt Damon, The Rip, happens to be at Netflix. Affleck also has the Batsuit fully on display at their studio. If Paramount happens to nab WBD, we're told the Snyderverse could be fully back in play, and that is very interesting. Yeah, that's the thing. He's got a very good relationship with Netflix. He's done a bunch of projects for them already. I think there's a good chance that he could leverage his connections over at Netflix once this deal is finalised to make his way back over to DC. And he clearly wants something Batman related. He's always going on about Batman. Zack Snyder's always going on about Batman. And I know he got shredded up a bit back in the day for not really understanding Batman, because there were some clips that went viral of him in like press doing going on the press tour for Batman v Superman and being like, why doesn't Batman just fucking kill people? I don't understand why Batman just doesn't have a gun. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to that effect, where he was just like confused why Batman just doesn't fucking mow down his adversaries. Yeah, you know, of somewhat not understanding the point of Batman's character is that he doesn't kill because his parents were killed by criminals, and if he killed the criminals, he'd be just as bad as the people who killed his parents. It's a whole moral dilemma. Yeah, so there were a few clips that went viral of Zack Snyder not really understanding the character of Batman, and he got shredded up for it quite a bit back in the day. But a comic accurate, dark, gritty Dark Knight Returns adaptation by Zack Snyder could be very interesting. What has Zack Snyder said about The Dark Knight Returns? Back in December of 2023, Zack did say he would end his superhero career with The Dark Knight Returns. If you look at Watchmen, where Alan Moore took like basically iconographic characters that you could superimpose over a lot of, you know, if Night Owl is Batman and Dr. Manhattan has Superman-ish qualities, you can make all these different sorts of archetypical hero analysis over the top of those heroes, Snyder said at the time. Snyder continued, the thing about Dark Knight Returns is it is literally Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and the deconstruction is so obvious and so palpable. For me, it was like comics grew up in a single moment. When I read that book, I was completely laid bare. Everything I thought about superheroes, for me, it's the greatest comic book ever written. If I could do that, then I will have done Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns, and I would be pretty much done with superheroes. Yeah, that would be a pretty crazy filmography, comic book-wise, superhero-wise, you know. Watchmen's a pretty iconic comic book, and The Dark Knight Returns is very iconic. You know, I talk to people who don't really understand comic books or any of this, that know what The Dark Knight Returns is. Yeah, that would be a pretty insane filmography. I mean,